Pawsville was a happy town that was famous for its natural beauty, animals, and above all, its doggy-human friendships. In Pawsville, animals didn't have owners. They had friends. Here, all animals were free to roam as they pleased. They lived where they wanted and made friends with whomever they liked. Just like the people in Pawsville. After all, why shouldn't animals choose friends for themselves? In Pawsville, animals would tag along beside people they really liked and enjoy spending time with them. Almost all the residents had at least one close canine companion that followed them around. Mr. James and his canine companion went jogging together every morning. Who would help Mrs. Candy carry her shopping bags home? Her canine companion, of course. Even 2-year-old Nicky had a canine companion when she was out in her stroller. The moment he saw Nicky's stroller, he would run toward her and they would go for a walk together. Like all the other residents of Pawsville, our heroine, Madison, got on well with dogs and enjoyed playing with them. But for some strange reason, she still didn't have her own canine companion. Each day she would ask herself, "Maybe today's the day a dog becomes my canine companion." She'd even drawn a picture for her future canine companion. The drawing was just missing the dog. She planned to complete the picture when they met and then pin it up on her bedroom wall. If one day she had a canine companion, she would call him Maddle. One day, Madison heard a sound behind her as she was walking home from school. Was she being followed? Had one of the canine friends she'd made that week finally decided to follow her? Madison turned to look behind her, but couldn't see anyone. She heard another sound and looked back again. What on earth? She was being followed by a duckling. Madison was walking home from school with a duckling running along behind her. Where did this duckling come from? She thought. Maybe it's lost. Madison suddenly had an idea. Her school was near a lake that was home to many ducks. This duckling must have lost his way. If Madison walked toward the lake, the duckling would follow and find his way home. She didn't really want to walk all the way back to the lake, but the duckling wouldn't stop following her. Madison and the duckling eventually arrived at the edge of the lake. The duckling jumped in immediately. Ducks love water, after all. And the next day, Madison heard the same sound on her way home from school. She didn't need to turn around. The duckling was following her again. Madison used the same plan as the day before. She headed straight for the lake. Madison wasn't very happy with this situation. Why do I get followed around by a duckling instead of a dog like everyone else? She muttered out loud. But she wasn't alone by the lake. An elderly man had heard her and straightaway replied, "That's what ducks do. It's in their nature. They love to follow someone around." Madison found this very funny. As soon as she got home, she looked it up on the internet, where she learned that the old gentleman was right. Ducklings do love to have something to follow. Madison found this ridiculous, and she loved things that were ridiculous. The next day after school, she looked behind her. The duckling was there, of course, and once again Madison walked straight to the lake. But this time, it wasn't to get rid of the duckling, but to get to know him a bit better. According to her research on ducks, running after things wasn't the only interesting thing about them. For instance, they don't eat just worms and weeds. They eat pebbles, too, because pebbles help them to digest the food they've eaten. And ducks have 3 eyelids. The 3rd eyelid enables them to see more clearly underwater. Every evening, Madison did her research on ducks. Every day after school, she went to the lake to observe the ducks. The duckling, of course, was always running along behind her. After a while, they started spending more time together. Whenever Madison ate a sandwich, she would share her lettuce with the duckling. The duckling was very curious. He appeared to enjoy this research as much as Madison. And he loved books. That is, if they didn't fall on top of him. He enjoyed discovering new places. That is, if you count Madison's hat as a new place. They really had lots of fun together. One day while Madison was observing the ducks again, she heard someone call out to her. It was the old man. "You two have become good friends," he said. "Friends? With a duck?" said Madison. "What I really wanted was a canine companion to play with and go on walks with." "But I see you two having lots of fun together," said the old man. "You go for walks, you eat, you even do research together. Is there any reason why people shouldn't be friends with ducks in the same way as dogs?" he added. Madison felt a bit confused. She looked at the duckling's beak, its tail, and then at its webbed feet. The duckling certainly looked nothing like a dog, but they had so much fun together. "I never imagined I'd have a duck companion," said Madison. The next day, she raced to the lake after school. The duckling was right beside her again. Madison bent down and embraced the duckling, who nestled against her shoulder. "Waddle, it's so lovely to hug you." That day by the lake, she finished her picture and pinned it up on the wall when she got home.